What an emotional roller coaster called life. I received a message from someone today, and I felt the desire to get on and speak. That said, the person was asking me, what do we do in moments of great strife? How do we navigate these waters called life in the world that we're facing today? How do I do this? How do I navigate? And so I felt like, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that way. How do I navigate a world I no longer recognize? People I no longer recognize, people who are telling you that you have to make a decision to be a part of the group. And I just wanted to get on here and say that you have to go inside first. You have to disconnect from the Facebooks and the Twitter, because that is just a 2D experience of the world around us. It's not nuanced in any way. It's just a flat surface with some words on it. That's all it is. We are a much more beautiful being than how we are displayed on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. There is so much depth to the human that I am getting emotional by saying this to you. There is so much nuance to humans and to the human being. We have to figure out a way to reach one another again that isn't behind a phone screen. We have to find a way to realize we are being put against one another, pitted against one another. And there are some people that I love in the real physical world that I don't see eye to eye with online. And it's like we're living in two separate realities. And of course you're going to feel like you can't navigate. Because who prepared us for this? No one. No one prepared us for this. And here it is. We are trying to navigate in a world, in a structure that is crumbling before us, that no one knows how to navigate, yet everyone says they do and they have the answer. When the fact is, no one knows the answer. But I can tell you that if you go inside and find the 0 point place where you know love, you felt it before, you know what it feels like to have family, the warmth of family, the warmth of connection. I was thinking today while I was working out what it felt like when I was a teenager back in the 90s. That feeling that I got in my body about just being excited for what the future could bring me and my friends, and connecting with them through music, through connection alone, is where we have to go back to. We have to go back there. And if you weren't born in the 90s, you have to go back 2 years ago before your reality was shattered. And you have to find that person you were. And you have to bring them forward to this time. Because that person isn't jaded. They're not angry. They're not hurt at the things that were put in front of us that we were told we must believe. You must believe A, B, and C. This person is to blame. That person is to blame. I don't think so. I don't think anyone that's a normal person just trying to live their lives is to blame for any of this. I think this was supposed to happen so that we could find ourselves again. So that we could find our way back to ourselves again. And back to our hearts again. Back to the love we have for each other again. And you don't have to love everybody. Like, that's okay. But people are inherently good, and I'm not going to not believe that, because I do believe that. And I think a lot of people believe that. And it's okay that we don't agree on certain things. And no, none of us are going to live forever, and that's the truth. None of us. So it's important that we're good to each other. It's so important that we find love again in our hearts for each other and not rely on what Facebook is telling us, or what Twitter is telling us, or what ABC is telling us, or what CNN is telling us, or Fox News is telling us. Go off of what you see around you. Go off of your interactions with people that may not agree with you. How are those interactions? I spoke to a woman just yesterday who I could tell probably didn't see the world like I do. And yet, we were able to totally come together and just like laugh about things like shoes and getting older. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Because that's the humanity in us that we have to find again. We have to find it again. And it's our job to do it. And if you want to become cynical, have fun with that. What a waste of life. What a waste of life to be in fear all the time. What a waste of life to be cynical. What a waste of life to point fingers and blame. I don't believe that that's what this world, this beautiful earth was intended for. I don't. And if you disagree, I love you anyway. And I'm okay with you disagreeing with me. Because we are being pitted against one another, whether you want to believe it or not. And this is your wake-up call. Like, we are. And I'm just a person. I'm just one person. And you don't have to believe a damn thing that comes out of my mouth. But you better start questioning other people and what they have coming out of their mouths too. And you better go inside and ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this worth hating this person? Is it worth hating that person? What lens are you viewing the world outside of you in? What lens? And so I felt compelled on here today to get on and to just talk and be real. Because we have to be real with one another. Since when? Since when did you want to live in a world where everybody thought the same way? I don't. I don't want to live in a world where everybody sees things exactly the same way. That's not how our world was intended to be. And I love that about people. I love that people are different. And that someone could create the most beautiful art and I couldn't even begin to do that. Like, I love that. I don't want that world to go away. I want it to be here. I want the individuality to exist. Don't you? Don't you want people to be individuals? I want that world. I want the world back in the 90s, and I know it's not going to come back, and I'm grieving. And I know a lot of you are grieving too, and that's okay. But we have to find each other again. And we have to look at each other as humans, because that's what we are. And we're flawed. And no one knows. But I do know that I have a tremendous amount of love in my heart for others. And if you're that way too, then I hope you'll speak out and reach out. And I hope that you'll continue to be a humble human to other humble humans and to not so humble humans, to find a way to be loving anyway. Thank you for listening. I just had to get on here and say that. Let's be good to each other. And let's talk. We have to talk. And we have to remember. We have to remember who we were before our reality was shattered. And again, I'll reiterate that I'm not against shattered realities. I think shattered realities are necessary. But we were all placed on this planet for a reason. And we were all put here to coexist. Let's use our time wisely and be smart about it. Thanks for watching.